Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Covert Knits podcast. I'm your host, Abigail Covert. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is Sunday, April 26th, and I'm coming to you from sunny Omaha, Nebraska. If you are a new viewer, thank you so much for checking out my podcast. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate the support. If you are looking for me on the internet, you can find me on Instagram as @covert_knits. And on Ravelry as Covert Knits. I'll put all of that information right down here. I also forget to mention this every episode, but I do put show notes in the description box below, so anything that I talk about during the episode will be available. If you have questions, always feel free to reach out to me, but they are there for your use. So today we're going to talk about a few things. I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing. I have one finished object to chat about today, 4 whips. I have one formerly finished object, something I finished a long time ago that someone had a question about. So I'll chat a little bit about that. And then at the end, we'll talk about my week's knitting goals that I set for myself last week and a little bit of chatter. And that should be it. So grab your drink. Today's my Diet Dr. Pepper, as always. And join me for just a little bit of knitting chat. All right, first we're going to talk about what I'm wearing. This is my very first finished sweater. It is the Shapely Boyfriend sweater by Stefanie Japel. It's a free pattern from Knitty. You can find it through Ravelry, but it was a free pattern from the Knitty website. I knit this in Barocco Weekend, which is a discontinued colorway, or discontinued yarn, and the colorway was Dusk. The yarn is an acrylic cotton mix, 75 acrylic, 25% cotton. So it washes and wears really well. Obviously, there's lots of things I would change about it since it's the first one, but I really liked the simple waist shaping here. It has buttons, not sewn on very well, but you get the gist. Anyway, I was so excited that this was my first sweater. I wear it all the time still, mostly around the house. Occasionally, I'll wear it to work as just a throw over if it's going to be cool that day. So it's a great sweater to have. Obviously, there are things, like I said, that I would do different. I would make the sleeves longer. I had never picked up stitches really before when I did this. So lots of things that I learned how to do on this sweater, but it is definitely something that I do still love. I know a lot of people, their first sweaters they've given away or whatnot. I don't think I would do that unless, it was no longer a usable item. So that's what I'm wearing today. So let's move into the only finished object I have this week, which is my pair of London B.Ridge socks. So this is them. I've got both of them. I'll just hold one here. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this one. This is, again, the London B.Ridge socks pattern by Mina, Philipp, also known as the Knitting Expat. I knit this out of GnomeAcres Sparkle Gnome in the Lovey Dovey colorway. Again, she's no longer dyeing, but I do have a lot of this yarn in the stash. It is her Sparkle Gnome base. You can see a little bit the sparkle there. I love this pattern because it's very simple, but it just throws in a little bit of those pearl rows to break up the stockinette, and I just love it. So that is my finished object. I knit almost all of my socks using US 1.5s. Those are 2.5 millimeter, 64 stitches. And I prefer cuff down. I've knit a few toe up socks, but I prefer cuff down. So that's my general. On this one, I did the German German short row heel that is called for in the pattern. So I just do the one that she includes. And then also, I do her sort of rounded toe. It's still a wedge toe, but semi-rounded. So I do that as well. So I'm so excited to have them off my needles. I've been working away on them for a while. Obviously, they were supposed to be my Valentine's Day socks, but say Lovey. Okay, so that's it for my finished objects. Unfortunately, that's the only one I have. I'm excited to have one at all, but I was hoping to have a few more. So, finished object for the week. Okay, moving on to whips. So for works in progress, I have 4. Let's start with the big one. This is my, it's got stuff all over it. This is my Yorkville sweater. I'm housing this in just a 31 tote bag. My friend sells 31, so I have a lot of them. You can see some of them behind me. So, and I find them very useful, especially for sweaters. Okay, so again, this is my Yorkville sweater. I am so close to being done, you guys. I just ran out of steam last night and just couldn't get it quite finished for the podcast today, but it is, I have one sleeve completely done, and I am about, it doesn't seem like it, but I am about halfway done with this sleeve. One of the things I was forgetting about when I was doing the sleeves is that she does a short row sleeve cap with shaping, sleeve cap shaping, which takes up, it's not just knitting straight down, so those short rows do take up quite a bit of time and yarn, and I wasn't really thinking about that when I was trying to plan for what I would get done. So okay, so as I've said before, Yorkville pattern by Mina Philipp, knitting expat. The yarn is Tweedy DK by Teeny Button Studios. I just love it. The color is Treacle Toffee. And this is, I have this and then one little half ball of yarn left, which will be enough to get me the rest of this sleeve. And then this will be a finished object. So this is, it's been a labor of love for sure. It's, I really, really am enjoying the process. And I really enjoyed the sleeve cap and the shaping. And when I tried on after just the one sleeve was done, if you can see, I have fairly short arms. So, I tried it on after just the one sleeve was done, and the sleeve fit so nicely. And the cap, I've never done a sleeve cap like this before. I've always just done either a drop shoulder or just a plain set in sleeve with no shaping. And this is just, it really, really fits well. I was just so surprised. So I really enjoyed that. Something new I'd never done before, which is always exciting. So yeah, this hopefully, fingers crossed, will be a finished object next week. I probably will hopefully be wearing it. It'll be way too hot for me to really be wearing it, but I will be wearing it because I just have to wear finished sweaters. So anyway, that's this project. Again, it is almost done. Fingers crossed that I can get that done this week, and we'll be good on that. Okay, moving on to whip number 2. Sorry, I have my notes down here, so if I'm looking, that's why. I'm housing this in my fringe field bag that I've had forever. I do have a little Shelly Can yarn rainbow in there. Okay, so this is another hat. I actually don't have a finished hat this week, so I guess that's kind of good. All things considered. Since these are my quarantine hats. So this is it's just a vanilla hat by me. The pattern's by me, vanilla hat recipe. There's not really a pattern. I just kind of do what I want, what I think for certain weights of yarn, and hope that it works. So this is this one is going to be knit out of Malabrigo Rios. I'm just using up leftover scraps. So this is colorway was Azul Profundo, and wow, that's really good. I love that. And then I'm going to move on to, we're going to switch. I've run out of yarn of this one, so I will be switching to this Diana color. And if I run out of that, I have a whole bag here, all in here. I just have a bag of Rios scraps. So I will find a next color and move on to that. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just pulling scraps from my scrap bins, and usually things that are alike, obviously the same weight, or things that I use together in a project, and am knitting those into hats. And all of these hats will be charity or gift knitting. A few will be kept, but most of them will be given away. And they're just mindless. I can kind of do them on lunch breaks and things like that. These are knit on US 7s. These are Addies. I always forget this, but my my Yorkville is being knit on size 6s for the body and size 5s for the ribbing. And I'm using Addies on there. I have a lot of Addies, fixed circulars, because that's what my local yarn shop sells, Addies and Chagu. And I've been going there for so long that that's what I have in stock. So, okay, so that is whip 2. Whip 3 is another pair of socks. Since I finished the other pair, I wanted to get a pair on the needles. Let's see here. This is being housed. I bought this at my local yarn shop. It's just this, I love this fabric. I think it's a recycled fabric, but it's Imp Wear Home, made in Seattle. They have big tote bags, and then I have a couple of this size. They have this fun pattern inside. They're great for 2 at a time socks, which is what I'm doing here. So these are, I've just got them on the needles, cuffed down. I am doing the Mina's 2 at a time sock pattern, again by the Knitting Expat. Obviously I'm a fan. I know I've said that before. So, I just finished the cuff and just a few rows into the stockinette. These will just be plain stockinette, no patterning. And the yarn I am using is Patton's Croy Socks FX in the Clover colorways. Ooh, a little bit of a glare there. So, and I have 2 balls, so I'm knitting 2 at a time. And let's see, I am, as I was with the others, these are being knit on US size 1.5, 2.5 millimeter. These are also Addies. This is the 40-inch cable that I'm using for 2 at a time. I can do 2 at a time on 32-inch cables, but I prefer the 40-inch. It gives you a little bit extra space. So those are my socks in progress. Just something to kind of pick up and do a row here or there. There's no timeline. There's nothing on that. I just like to always have a pair on the go. So those are my socks. And my 4th work in progress is my Chevron baby blanket that I'm working on. This is by Allison Van Zandt of Simply Sock Yarn Company. This is a free pattern available on the Simply Sock Yarn blog, but they link to it from the Ravelry page. So I did get a little bit done on this. I think I was in the yellow section last week, so I did get a little bit done on this pattern, which was something I wanted to do. I'm really loving the colorway. Let's talk about the yarn. This yarn is Yarnspirations Karen Big Cakes. I have 2 balls of this, and this colorway is honey glazed. And this is 100% acrylic, I believe. I say that, but I'm not 100% certain now. Yes, 100% acrylic. And I picked this up at a Michael's a year or so ago, and then cast this blanket on. It's not for anyone specific. I just like, it would be nice to have a baby blanket finished up and ready to gift if the need arises. It's a washable yarn, so it's a good baby knit yarn. As I've said in previous episodes, I don't really subscribe to specific colors for babies or gender, so I just do what I feel like I like and hope that the parents like it too. So this is that project. I'm enjoying that. This is knit on US 7s. Again, these are Addies. And that is being housed in my, such a big project that it's just in my Disneyland tote bag. That was a gift. Okay. And that's it for my current whips and FOs. So I do have one formally finished project, finished object, FFO, that I stole that from someone, by the way. I don't remember whose podcast, but I was watching and I loved that, so I stole that from them. Okay. I had a question about the blanket that was behind me last time, so let me grab it. My cat has dragged it off to the side here. Okay. So this is one of my favorite things that I've ever knit. This is my Entrelac throw. The official name of it is called, I've knit this so long ago. The number 19 Entrelac throw. It is from the winter of 2010, 2011 Knit Simple magazine. So I'm not sure if it's available on Ravelry to purchase, but I had the magazine, so I knit the project out of that. It is knit in Noro Corian, and the colorway I knitted out of was 242, which is the rust olive black colorway. And I think it used something like 12 or 14 balls of the Noro Corian. And I just love the colors in this. This gets used all the time. It's my lap blanket that I use whenever I'm knitting. And the colors are beautiful. It was, I think, not my first experience with Entrelac, but I think I'd done a scarf, but one of my first. Let's see. There's obviously no way I can get this all in the shot, but it is just a throw. It's not a large blanket. And I probably didn't make it as long as the pattern called for just because I didn't need it to be that long. It was knit on US 7s, I believe, and I knit this probably 8 years ago. It's been a long time. This was one of the first big projects I ever knit. And it's one of my favorites. The Noro has softened over time. It is a little bit of a scratchier wool. It's not next to skin stuff for a lot of people, but it with use it's just so warm, and it just gets so soft. So yeah, that's that project. Thank you, Gisela, for asking about that. I love to share projects with people. Sorry, there's lots of cat hair on here. Whether they're current or former projects. So if you ever have any questions about anything you see behind me, please let me know. I'd be happy to chat about it. So, okay. So that's all of the knitting content. The last thing I just wanted to chat a little bit about this week was my goals. Last week I had set 4 goals for myself for the week, and I didn't quite complete them, but I wanted to kind of go over those and then what my goals are for this week. So my goals last week were to finish my Yorkville sweater, which didn't happen. I'm so close. It will get done this week, but I'm so close. I just ran out of time. The second was to finish my socks, my London B.Ridge socks, which I did. So that goal was completed. The third was to work on a kind of a hibernating project, which was the Chevron baby blanket. I did get some work done on that, so I feel like that goal has been check marked for the week. And then the final goal was to skein up my yarn for my City Limit sweater, which I did do. I'll insert a picture here so that you can see. I did do it. I won't pull them out because there's no way I can hold all 6 of them at once. But I got that done just this morning while the neighbor was mowing the lawn, so I couldn't podcast. But they are all skeined up and ready to go. So those were my 4 goals for the week. And my upcoming goals for the week are to, let me grab my note here so I can remember, to finish the Yorkville. That is goal number 1. I'm hoping to have it off the needles tonight so that I can start blocking it. I have knit night this afternoon, and I think I'll be able to get quite a bit of knitting done there, and then get it finished and get it blocking and have that done for the week. My next goal is to cast on the City Limit sweater. I've now wound the yarn. I know that that's the next sweater I want to knit, so I hope to have that casted on by the time I podcast next week. And also I would like to cast on the Mini-Montrealer. I don't love to have tons of projects on the needles, but I do like to have a good variety of projects. And I have the yarn for a Mini-Montrealer, a gift for a friend's child, and I really would love to get this done and off my needles so that I have it and can gift it whenever it is needed. So I'm really hoping to get that started. I've knit one already. It doesn't take a super long amount of time. It's a DK weight child size sweater, so I would like to at least get that going. And my 4th project goal for the week is to continue working on that Chevron baby blanket. I enjoy it. It's easy. It's an easily memorizable 2-row repeat, and it's just nice to kind of wind down with that. So I think I will be able to get a little bit of work done, put in on that this week. So those are my goals for the week. Just wanted to kind of chat a little bit. I know everyone's having more or less difficult times during this self-isolation, physical and social distancing, quarantining time. I had a very, very busy week at work. I work for a small local payroll company. That's my day job. And as much as I love it, it was a very long week and very busy. So I didn't get quite as much knitting time as I would like, which is part of why all of my goals weren't met. I try to set these goals for myself, and I hope that I make them, but if I don't, they're just a goal, and I can, it's not the end of the world, and I have to kind of remind myself of that. Sometimes when I set goals and I don't meet them, that kind of throws my brain into free fall, in that, oh my gosh, you didn't meet your goal, so you might as well just not do anything. And I know I'm not the only one that happens to, so I have to kind of force myself to remember, like, it's okay, then we'll just push that goal another week and we'll try again. We just have to keep trying. So with the crazy week that I had at work and my knitting goals, that I've kind of felt like that this week, but I'm hoping that the upcoming week will be a little bit better. So I just kind of wanted to know, oh, sorry, my cat is taking my sweater off here. Georgie. So do you set knitting goals for yourselves? If so, what kinds of goals? Do you do weekly? Do you, or do you not, or crafting goals, I guess, if you're not a knitter? Or do you just feel like you do whatever feels good at the time? Or, how do you do that? I would love to hear in the comments below, or, if you would love to or like to share with the rest of us what your knitting goals or crafting goals are, if you have them. Okay, so I think that is everything for the week. I hope everybody has a fantastic coming week, or whenever you're watching this, you have a good day, and that you're all staying sane and staying safe, and we will talk to you hopefully next week. Okay, have a good one. Bye.